Hi, and welcome to Tennis Volley Talk. Sorry, it's been a little bit later this week than what I was used to. I've been having a little technical difficulties with trying to get this up and running, but finally I did. But thank you for joining me again for another episode of Tennis Volley Talk with Brian Danielson. Hey, today what I'm going to be doing is talking a little bit about the tournament that just finished last week, the Montreal and then Toronto, the ITA and WTA tournaments that actually were a 2-week tournament. And then with that, the people that ended up winning the final was actually Ben Sheldon, and that was his repeat. He really caught fire and really came with it, played within himself during this tournament. So he really played really, really well with that. And he beat Brandon Nakashima, and he beat him 6-3, 7-6, 7-4 in that final. So he really was playing good. And with that would be the Montreal. And then with Toronto in Canada, that was the WTA. And then Iga Swiatek beat Elena Rybakina. And she just played out of her mind. She was looked like the old Iga that we grew up and watched over when she first came up on the scene and was beating everybody. And now she just came back with a vengeance and actually beat Elena pretty handily 6-2, 6-3. So that was what a crazy craziness that was. So she ended up winning that pretty easily. But then also too, that was kind of a tournament that is held each year, but then they switch next year. So the guys will be playing in Toronto and the women will be playing in Montreal. So that will be switched for next year that way. So with that too, they also have been in right after that. This last week, Cincinnati Open started, and that's another 2-week tournament, about a week and a half, 2-week tournament. And then when that Cincinnati Open finishes, then it's going to be the last major of the season, which is going into the US Open. And there's going to be a lot of players that actually have played really well in that tournament. So with that too, some of the Cincinnati, it's in the round. Some of the rounds are in the 64 round, and we actually had Novak Djokovic getting beat by let's see, Thiago Augustin Toronto, and he got beat yesterday 2-6, 6-4, 6-4. So Djokovic is out of the Cincinnati Open here. And then you had Jakub Mensik, and he beat Mattila Buselli 5-7, 6-2, 7-6, 7-5. So he was playing good. And then Jakub Mensik, he always plays really good too. What a server he is, though, then also. And then you have also Aryna Sabalenka that ended up winning today. Had Jessica Pegula and let's see here. Let's see. Some of those were playing last night, so didn't catch who actually won today from those, but Pegula was ahead, and I believe Goff was ahead, and but Sabalenka won today, and then Felix Auger Aliassime, he beat, and he was on the winner today at 6-3, 7-5. And then also Tsitsipas lost today, and he lost let's see, he lost today. And then with that, and it was 4-6, 7-6, 7-6 when he lost. So, it's been kind of some upsets along the way, but what we're going to be moving into is the US Open coming up in New York. Wish I would have not, I wish I could have been going this year, but I just didn't make it. This year, I might have to hold off and then uh, actually then probably think about maybe going overseas and catching one of the other, like French Open or something like that next year. Might do that. Might go back to New York. So I'm not really quite sure as far as that goes. But with that in mind, everybody like, subscribe, and comment on the podcast. Hopefully you do like what I'm doing. I've still yet to have a few little things out there for a Zoom with maybe some people, or maybe a possibility of interviewing or doing a phone interview with some people. So I'm still trying to work on that. I've gotten a few out there that might want to take a look or see some of what I've been doing. And I hope you like that. Like, subscribe, and comment with that. So with that too, today you also have then the Racket of the Week segment. So this is actually Racket of the Week. It's called the Dynastroke. And then with that too, it's called the Dynastroke. It's a fiber fused. It's a Rawlings racket, and it's probably around about the 1950s, right in that era. It has the ribbons on it too, and then it has the trebling strings on it, the precursor to the string savers that you have nowadays, and then with the ribbons too. For anybody that may not know about that, with the ribbons on these old rackets, they have the manufacturers, they have their own colors of ribbons on some of the manufactured rackets like this. Rawlings has, I believe, that has these color ribbons, but what they were used for, and then because the rackets themselves were put together in layers and glued together in the layers like this, so then the ribbons were used to actually hold the layers together so they wouldn't come unglued. So that's what they use the ribbons for. And then the trebling, the little strings here, and then at the top, they were actually started in about the early 1900s, and they lasted all the way up until the newer synthetic strings started, and that was probably about 1980 about 1980 is when the newer strings started coming into existence. So that's whenever they quit using those, and then you went to the string saver, the little rubber string savers, or what they call dampeners nowadays. But this is a Rawlings racket, very sturdy, very straight racket. Kind of has along the lines of a look of the thinness and the look of what kind of the Imperial racket had for the Tad Davis look. So it kind of has along the lines of that look, with the throat and the thinness of the throat, but it's still a very straight racket. You could probably even hit a little bit with this racket still. So it is, it's very good, very nice. I like the color, the white, and then probably it's a maple or a very hard wood like that, but it's a very good sturdy racket right now. And with that, that's the Rawlings. If you like, subscribe, and comment on the Racket of the Week. And then you podcasters out there, if you want to take a look at it, go to my tennis channel, Tennis Volley Talk, and you'll be able to take a look at it and see what you think about it. Or if not, you can just hear about it, because and I kind of like that the bottom part of the here is a black along the bottom here, like this, and that color right there is black, and then it has the black here on the sides, and then it kind of ends up being then the lighter wood above that. So it's a very sturdy, straight racket still. and no cracks in it at all. So, and it's a Rawlings racket. And somebody that used to use the Rawlings racket also, that started out with the Rawlings racket, was actually John Newcomb. He endorsed the Rawlings rackets. Now, the Rawlings company, it was actually established in 1887 in St. Louis, Missouri, by two brothers, George and Alfred Rawlings. Their first catalog advertised them as dealers in a broad range of items: fishing, tackle, guns, baseball, football, golf, and polo equipment, tennis, and general athletic goods. They did the making of the Rawlings tennis racket, the classic, in 1970, and produced a line of tennis balls also for Rawlings, and then endorsed by, of course, John Newcomb. It was not the solo focus or co-founding specialty. The company's core identity was historically been centered on baseball, softball, and American football equipment, and that was kind of the main purpose of Rawlings back in the day. But then to be established back that far ago, back in 1887, so they've been around a long time, and they're still doing things, but mostly now they're actually doing the baseball gloves and baseball equipment, football, stuff of that nature with Rawlings equipment. But with that, for this next coming up week, I'm going to try to get something going, possibly, who knows, it might be a co-host or something like that. But everybody, if you're out there, keep playing. I've had, like I said, this week has been a little later because of the fact that I had a little bit of technical thing with the channel, but hopefully I got it taken care of. And then with that too, everybody keep getting out there and playing. I'm finally kind of getting over a little injury that I had on my little finger here. It sprained it really bad. Now it's finally getting back where I can grip a racket. So I'm going to start getting out because I have some tennis playoffs to do with a group that I play with. And, I don't know. And we had, actually had shirts that were made for it. So, and they'll come out really good. I'm going to be getting those pretty later this week. So with that, everybody get out there. If you're playing outside, get out there, still play outside. Make sure you don't play good. And everybody, if you're in the southern states, keep on playing. Everybody back there in Tulsa, Oklahoma, keep on going. I may be possibility going there again for a tournament that would be held in October, but it just depends on how busy I get or anything of that nature. So everybody out there, like and subscribe and comment. You podcasters out there, like, subscribe, and comment. With that, if you want to take a look at the Racket of the Week, be sure and do that with that Racket of the Week segment. If you like me doing that, and if you do like what I do with the phone calls and who I get on my podcast, everybody out there, and to the ones that I've interviewed, I want to give a big thank you to all the pros that I've interviewed on my podcast, and that really does make it good for people, and to hear their tennis history and their stories in order to see them and hear them. And especially Roscoe Tanner and Stan Smith, Dick Stockton, Brian Gottfried, Johan Creek, Brian Teacher. Mel Purcell, Vince Van Patten, all you guys that have helped make my podcast. And for people who may stumble across it and they want to let me know, comment, like, subscribe. And that holds true with whoever, like Nothing Major or Advantage Connors or something of that nature. So get to me, let me know, because I'd like to interview you also. Whoever might want to talk to me, get to me via the podcast, and I can message you or whatever the case may be. So everybody, thank you, and get out there and keep on playing and keep on going. And I'll hopefully talk to you this week sometime. And everybody have a great week.